In the year he turned 80, Shinjili passed away, having shared a life closely intertwined with mine for over 50 years. He told me he was infertile, but I only sought a soulful companionship. It turned out, however, he had preserved his chastity for another woman his entire life. 01. In the final chapter of my life, I wrote what would be my last collection of essays, titled The Two of Us. It recounted the story of how we met, came to know each other, fell in love, and my reflections at the end of our journey together. Then Shinjili's diary went viral online. I sat in my wheelchair, bombarded by the relentless flashes of camera lights. Reporters swarmed me, eager to hear my thoughts on Shinjili's posthumous writings. The diary revealed his decades-long secret love for Mengwan, and his mythic devotion to her. Thus, my book, The Two of Us, turned into a colossal joke. A review on a certain website read, "The fantasies of a pitiful woman. Unloved all her life." Xin Yao, pushing my wheelchair, finally navigated us out of the crowd. When everyone had dispersed, she looked at me in silence, her eyes filled with pity and guilt. Xin Yao was Mengwan's child. When Mengwan's husband died and her career was on the rise, Shinjili and I ended up adopting her. I raised her as my own. As a child, she was often sick, crying incessantly, and I would hold her all night long, pouring all my love into her. After a long silence, she spoke with an apologetic tone. "Meng Auntie wants to settle back in the country and wishes to be buried with Dad after her death." She added, "Dad had a tough life. Let's offer him some solace in death." I didn't respond, just stared at her intently, as if seeing the young woman before me for the first time. Xin Yao avoided my gaze, and before leaving, she just said, "Mom, think it over." After Xin Yao left, Xiao Wang, who looked after me, indignantly remarked, "Don't listen to her. You and your husband were together for over 50 years, and now in death, you are to be separated. Where's the justice in that? An ungrateful wretch." See, even strangers understand, but Xin Yao, whom I raised as my own flesh and blood, does not. 02. Meng Wan did return to the country, and her homecoming as a newly crowned movie star drew significant attention. Her journey was broadcast live, and I saw her weeping profusely at Shinjili's grave. The headlines described their story as "A Love Across Centuries," and many wept for their beautiful love story, and I ended up the ultimate punchline. Mengwan came to me, knelt down to thank me for caring for Xin Yao, and pleaded for my consent for her to be buried with Shinjili. Yangqing, Jili and I missed out on too much time together. If there is an afterlife, I don't want to miss out on him again. I said nothing, just looked up at Xin Yao. "Do you agree?" She nodded slightly, then quickly added, "Mom, you will always be my mom. It's just that now I have another mom." Xin Yao was always good at weighing pros and cons. Having a movie star as a mother was undoubtedly a boost to her acting career that I couldn't match. I understood her, and her decision didn't surprise me. I was just tired, and said wearily, "I agree, let them be buried together. Let her acknowledge her roots." "I agree, I'm tired now. Xiao Wang, please show the guests out." After everyone had left and silence settled, I began to reflect on my life. As one ages, memory fades, and my mind is filled with fragments of the past. I remembered when Shinjili named Xin Yao. I asked him the meaning of her name, and he smiled and replied, "Life's journey is long. I hope she can always strive to move forward." It turns out that Xin Yao represents a distant love, the woman who always captivated his heart from a foreign land. I remember before we got married, he told me with guilt on his face that he was infertile and it would be okay if I didn't want to proceed. He must have known how much I wanted my own child, yet he deceived me for so many years. I never doubted that Shinjili loved me, I just thought he was naturally reticent. The friendship of gentlemen is as mild as water. It is its mildness that makes it enduring. That's why we've been together for so many years. However, the outpouring of love in his will revealed that he wasn't bad at expressing himself. It was just that his love wasn't meant for me. I think I should hate him, but as one grows old, even hatred becomes hard to muster. All I feel is a bit of sadness, slowly rising from the depths of my heart, gradually spreading throughout my body. What I've sought all my life is the truth. In the preface to my prose, I wrote, "I'd rather have clear black than a white seen through mist." Yet it turns out my whole life has been a grand lie. If I could do it all over again, this thought is so strong, like a drowning person grasping for a lifeline. Upon awakening, I found myself back to the time when Shinjili and I had been married for a year. Shinjili had been shooting back-to-back for several weeks, and now he was so exhausted that he fell asleep on the couch. At that time, he wasn't yet the globally renowned director he would become years later, just a budding young director. He was involved in everything concerning the set and the actors. I knew he was struggling, so even though he forgot our anniversary, I never blamed him. Only when it was almost dark did Shinjili wake up, looking very tired. The first thing he said was, "Yongqing, you shouldn't go to the audition for The Distance. Mengwan just lost her husband and is raising a child alone. This film is very important for her." The Distance is a film directed by Shinjili. After its release, it won numerous national awards and made Mengwan the youngest Best Actress at the Golden Horse Awards. From then on, she received constant invitations from top directors, and her acting career soared. This was the first step Shinjili laid on Mengwan's glittering path to stardom, but he knew very well how much I had invested in this film. Mengwan was the sister his family had adopted. He often said that family should consider each other's needs, so I kept giving in, but this time, I didn't want to step back anymore. I stopped what I was doing and said lightly, "This film is also very important to me." He frowned, surprised and somewhat displeased. "Yongqing, you have me. There will be plenty of other opportunities, but it's different for Mengwan." I rolled up my sleeves to reveal the bruises on my arms. I'd been practicing dance at the martial arts studio come rain or shine for 6 months for this role. "Shinjili, what makes you think I should give up?" He paused, momentarily surprised, then softened his tone and embraced me. "Qing Qing, I know you feel wronged, but Mengwan is not just anyone. Whether she is just anyone or not, she is the person you've cherished for decades." I let my sleeves fall and said lightly, "I want a fair competition with her. Don't you have confidence in her?" That night, Shinjili and I parted on bad terms. Every day, I immersed myself in the martial arts studio, engrossed in the characters' emotions. The Distance was a pioneering work in its time, narrating the history of women's growth, later becoming one of the pioneering films in cinematic history. The only flaw was the lackluster martial arts scenes. I loved this film, and if possible, I hoped to make it even more perfect. However, I never expected Shinjili to stoop so low for Mengwan. The night before the audition, he put sleeping pills in the water and turned off the alarm. Just like that, I missed the audition for Distant. Without my competition, Meng Wanru, just like in her previous life, successfully clinched the role of the female lead. He loved her in such a way that even a person of bright and clear character would stoop to such despicable actions for her. It was quite late when Shinjili finally returned home. I looked up at him, my gaze indifferent, not uttering a word, just quietly observing him. This is the man I have loved for decades, the man I have devoted myself to wholeheartedly. There was no hysteria, no uncontrollable anger, only a lingering chill. Shinjili avoided my gaze, pursed his lips, his tone apologetic. "Qing Qing, you will be the female lead in my next film. You've been wrong this time. Whatever you want, I will make it up to you." What could possibly make up for it? Could it make up for the decades of mutual respect, for a lifetime of integrity? Yet, I continued to look at him, neither sad nor happy. He stepped forward, attempting to embrace me, but I simply stepped aside and said calmly, "I understand." I lay in bed, staring at the pristine white ceiling, filled with resentment. In my previous life, after missing out on that movie, I adopted Xinyao, and thus gave up a part of my career. When Xinyao grew older, I only took on supporting roles, and the highest award I ever received was for Best Supporting Actress. My gaze gradually hardened. I would not give up. The next day, I went to find Wei Qingshan. He was Shinjili's producer, known as the Golden Duo. With him in my previous life, without either of them, the movie couldn't succeed. More importantly, he was the young master of the Wei family, the major investor in the film. The man in front of me leisurely sipped his coffee. "Mrs. Shen, you should not be looking for me." There was a playful look in his eyes, but his tone was unmistakable. A person who does not respect time does not deserve another chance. I lowered my head, and when I looked up again, my expression had changed, my voice grave. "I possess a pearl long locked in dust, now cleansed of grime it shines, illuminating the green mountains." This was a line from the movie, a poem read by the female lead Chu Jinyan after a lifetime of hardships. Now I am her, and she is me. Armed with decades of experience, I understand this sentiment of having weathered many storms. I gently skimmed the froth off the tea, and said leisurely, "Producer Wei, a true pearl is worth waiting for." Wei Qingshan's expression slowly turned serious, then he smiled. "Mrs. Shen is much more interesting than the wooden Mr. Shen." He gave me another chance, and after seeing my martial arts demonstration, he sighed, "What a waste to have created Liang when you was born, Yang Qing." This role is meant for you. A month before the movie was set to start filming, Meng Wanru visited with her child. Her purpose this time was to ask me to temporarily take care of her child. Also, because of the care I had provided over the last 6 months, I had grown very fond of Xin Yao, and the subsequent adoption followed naturally. Xin Jili was cooking in the kitchen, a rare occurrence, only happening when Meng Yao visited, because Meng Yao appreciated Xin Jili's cooking. He was willing to prepare meals for her. Such a grand love. I tried hard to control my face, ensuring it didn't betray a mocking smile, and just watched expressionlessly. Meng Yao had a classically beautiful face, and dressed in black during her mourning period, with a white silk flower pinned to her hair and a pale complexion. Her slightly drooping eyebrows evoked a sense of pity in me. She looked at me timidly, the child in her arms crying incessantly. Meng Wan had never taken care of a child before. She was all flustered and didn't know what to do. I knew it was because she was holding the child in the wrong position, pressing on the baby's stomach, which was why he was crying. Yet, I just watched coldly from the couch without moving. It was Xin Jili who finally took a moment to come out of the kitchen and tenderly took the baby into his arms. In our past life, Xin Jili had doted on her like a precious gem. Everyone said they had never seen such a devoted father to his daughter. Sometimes I thought, he loves other people's children so much, what if we had our own? But now, thinking about it just feels ironic. His affection for her was simply because she bore a slight resemblance to the person he loved. During the meal, Meng Yao kept glancing at me, her face showing difficulty. She was too embarrassed to speak, and Xin Jili, feeling sorry for her, took the initiative. Ching, Meng Yao has to go film, and she can't find anyone suitable. Could you take care of Zhozhou for a few days? I slowly swallowed the food in my mouth, took a sip of wine, and said lightly, I'm not available. Xin Jili frowned slightly, impatiently saying, Ching, we're all family, don't be petty. He always took it for granted, as if I shouldn't have my own things to do. You assume I'm being petty without even asking if I'm busy with something. I looked up at him. He paused, his expression turning ugly. So, what are you busy with? I slowly wiped my mouth and stood up from the table. When the time comes, you'll know. I'm full now. I won't keep you from catching up. I couldn't help but look forward to seeing their expressions on the day of the filming. Ultimately, Xin Jili managed to settle everything for Meng Yao, allowing her to focus solely on her role. The day of the filming began on a rainy day. The scenes of far away starting just like this wet day, gloomy as if the sun would never shine again. Xin Jili had taken the family car, although he wasn't late. When he arrived, everyone was already there. During the opening ceremony, amidst the noisy crowd, everyone was puzzled as to why the ceremony wasn't starting even though everyone was present. As the black umbrella was lowered, I looked directly into Xin Jili's eyes. He walked forward with a frown, somewhat impatiently. Ching. Why are you here? I'm too busy for you today. I brushed off his hand and headed straight towards Wei Qingshan. A flash of admiration crossed the man's eyes. Today's black attire was the classic look of the female lead, and he seemed very pleased. I slightly curled my lips, and Wei Qingshan clapped his hands, immediately silencing the venue. Our leading lady has arrived. Meng Wan suddenly looked up at me, disbelief in her eyes. Xin Jili's brows knitted tightly as he scoffed. Qingshan, I know you like to joke, but today is not the time. Wei Qingshan's smile faded, his expression serious. I'm not joking. At this point, Xin Jili seemed to realize that nothing could be changed, and through gritted teeth, he murmured, Meng Wan was our mutual choice for the lead. There's no precedent for changing the lead actress suddenly. Wei Qingshan's face turned stern, his tone cooling. Yang Qing is your wife. I can't believe you didn't realize she was the more suitable choice. He stepped forward, patting Xin Jili on the shoulder. Xin Jili, for a director, art should be the only pursuit, not swayed by these useless emotions. Meng Yao left the opening ceremony in tears, passing by me. He glared at me fiercely. Originally, Xin Jili wanted to chase after her, but the opening ceremony's cannon fired just in time, and he ultimately stopped in his tracks. In the group photo, he stood solemnly in the center while I stood by his side, laughing flamboyantly. My era was about to begin. When the film officially started, the original second female lead suddenly fell ill and gave up on the shoot, and Meng Wan took over her role. It must be said that Xin Jili really went out of his way for her. Unfortunately, the first scene was a confrontation between me and Meng Wan. The female lead and the second female lead grew up together, and in this scene, The female lead finally learns that the traitor is the second female lead. I stepped forward trembling, looking down at her from a high position, my voice choked several times. Are you telling me it wasn't you? I had no choice, she replied. I continued to advance, my gaze filled with sadness and pain, and then gradually firmed up, a crisp slap, a swift sword flip, pressing against her throat. At this moment, the female lead truly wanted to kill her, to avenge her deceased brother, thus. My eyes were reddened, filled with murderous intent. Mengwan failed to catch on to the flow of the scene, completely freezing in place, even forgetting her lines altogether. The character of the second female lead was well-rounded, having competed with beggars for food in her youth. She betrayed the female lead but died for her. She had her own logical development, and playing it well would have been very impressive, but clearly, Mengwan was not up to the role. Cut, after Shinjili called cut. He hurriedly checked Mengwan's face for injuries, his expression full of sympathy. He glanced at me with some dissatisfaction. Shinjili was known as the strictest director in the industry, forcing actors to endure repeated takes in the freezing cold without complaint, but Mengwan was his sole favoritism. He specifically got an ice pack and personally applied it to Mengwan, his tone as gentle as water. Wan. That was very good just now, shall we try one more take? I rolled my eyes speechlessly. Good in what way? He really had the gall to say that. Wei Qingshan couldn't hold back and snorted lightly. Tell me, what was good about it? Despite another attempt, Mengwan was no longer stunned but her lines were still stuttered. Cut. Shinjili was distressed, but Mengwan still had tears in her eyes, bravely saying, I can do it. Frankly, if she used her current acting in the play, this scene would have been passed long ago. Honestly, by the end. My hand was numb from the slapping. Mengwan, with a swollen face, looked at me with deep resentment. Wei Qingshan sat back in his chair, not even bothering to look up. If you could, we wouldn't need to shoot so many takes. Miss Meng, you might not be tired, but everyone else is very tired. The set was full of working people, none of whom had the patience to accompany her in this show of professionalism. Wei Qingshan ran out of patience with Mengwan's scene and went out of town to discuss investments. Over the following days, Shinjili painstakingly coached Mengwan's acting. After a few days, the shooting progress barely got back on track. It came to the female lead's first standout scene, entering the fray with a long spear, setting a classic moment in film. For this shot, I prepared extensively, practicing daily with the stunt coordinator, but the scene Shinjili eventually presented. It was thoroughly mediocre. People often say that the camera lens has a certain warmth, and under Shinjili's lens, Mengwan always appeared as untouchable and serene as a saint, exuding a steadfast beauty. In my past life, I never believed it. I thought Shinjili loved me, even comforting myself that it was merely because Mengwan looked better on camera, because he loved her. I could never measure up to Mengwan in his shots. But why, after giving so much, do I still lose to this elusive love? After several intense scenes with long spears, I was completely exhausted. Let's stop here for today, we'll reshoot tomorrow. After everyone had left, Shinjili came over to me, frowning, seemingly puzzled, and asked, Are you not satisfied? We've already spent too much time on this scene. I suddenly stood up, stepped forward, almost falling due to my overstrained legs. Shinjili moved to support me, but I shrugged off his hand, saying coldly, Shinjili, Distant Lands is your film, and this scene is a highlight for the female lead. Ask yourself, are you satisfied with today's shots? Shinjili remained silent. Eventually, I was too tired and before leaving, I left him with one remark, if you can get it right, I don't mind if you pretend I'm Mengwan for a while. His expression froze on his face, and I whispered in his ear, do you really think you've hidden it well? I don't know if Shinjili took my words to heart that night, or if it was because Wei Qingshan had returned to the set. Nevertheless, the scene was finally completed perfectly. Despite many setbacks, the long-term filming of intense martial arts scenes had severely strained my arms, but the set waits for no one, and I had to grit my teeth and continue shooting, so much so that when the wire rig failed, I didn't even have the strength to cling to anything. As I fell, I saw Shinjili running towards Mengwan without any hesitation. How could I not be heartbroken? I had known him for over 50 years, he was the person I relied on the most, yet I was never his first choice. When I hit the ground, I instinctively protected my face, an actor's livelihood. Distant Lands was my first step to changing my life, and I didn't want to lose this opportunity. I said I didn't care, but I was still caught in my obsessions. everything gradually went dark. And when I woke up, I was in the hospital. Wei Qingshan was sitting by my bed. Looking exhausted, he sighed in relief when he saw me awake. After making sure I was okay, his voice rose. Yang Qing, how many lives do you think you have? Didn't the stunt coordinator teach you to protect the back of your head when falling? I knew I had been reckless and gave him a guilty smile. He got even angrier, pursed his lips, and finally let out a deep sigh. Yang Qing, nothing is more important than your life. Rest well, you will always be the leading lady of distant lands. It wasn't until the evening that Shinjili came to visit me. His concern seemed genuine as he looked at me, but I still felt sidelined. I had once thought he treated Mengwan like a sister, believing it was natural for a brother to dote on his sister, but that wasn't the case. I've never brought up the reason for our divorce because, after over 50 years together, even seeing the journal in front of me, I could hardly believe it. 50 years, thousands of days and nights, he was the person by my side. At the moment of life and death, he abandoned me, and only now have I finally given up. A surge of belated anger nearly overwhelmed me. I haven't experienced such intense emotional fluctuations in a long time. Thoughts that I had deeply suppressed surged forth like madness. His diary read, Wan, I am trying to love someone else. Qing is a good girl, loving her is the best outcome for both of us, but I have failed. It turns out love cannot be forced. I often questioned myself, wondering if I really am so unworthy of love. It has been over 50 years, more than half of a lifetime. Was there ever a moment during that time when he truly had feelings for me? Yet, I ultimately asked nothing because it no longer mattered. It really didn't matter anymore. Shinjili. After we finish filming Distant Places, let's get a divorce. Shinjili looked at me incredulously, took a step forward, and grabbed my hand. Yang Qing, I can explain. I struggled to free myself from his grasp. The touch always reminded me of my ludicrous life. A nurse walked in, frowning at his expression. What is your relationship with the patient? She fell and hit the back of her head, suffered a concussion. If it had been any worse, you might not have been able to see her anymore. Only now did Shinjili seem to realize the seriousness of my injury. Qing, I didn't know. His tone was halting, filled with regret and fear. He hurriedly moved forward to check my injuries. His face twisted in pain when he saw the bruises. In the days that followed, Shinjili stayed by my side, regardless of my cold words. Sometimes, I would gaze at him, slightly lost in thought. In a past life, I underwent a surgery, and Shinjili postponed all his work to care for me for a whole year, which made me mistakenly believe he loved me. Love, however, cannot withstand comparisons. In front of Mengwan, I was always his second choice. 12. I recuperated in the hospital for a week. We could not delay filming Distant Places any longer, due to his guilt. Shinjili followed me closely after wrapping up the day's shoot. He seemed to think that my mention of divorce was just something said in anger. Thinking he could easily coax me, Mengwan looked at Shinjili several times. But this time he firmly ignored her. He said Mengwan was just his sister, who had been frail since childhood, and he always thought to take extra care of her. He also said that we were married and that I was his wife, and he would try to love me more. I calculated the dates in the diary. This was the time he was trying to love me. Shinjili, love cannot be forced. His eyes struggled for a moment, but eventually settled into a faint smile. Yang Qing, I will treat you well. Since he was willing, I naturally had to seize this opportunity, the chance for director Shen to personally guide me in acting. After the makeup artist finished with me, only he and I were left in the makeup room. This scene was where Chu Jinyan, emotionally disturbed and temporarily led astray, debates with the monk Lin Ning, how to be charming but not vulgar, to smile without losing dignity. I was honestly unsure. The woman in the mirror, with bright red lips and curled hair, dressed in a figure-hugging cheongsam, did not look like me. I naturally have a stern face, with somewhat sharp eyes and brows. Such a seductive makeup was rarely tried by me. With a graceful sway, I stood up, grabbed Shinjili's tie, and pulled him closer, just inches apart. I breathed softly into his ear. You say the sea of suffering is boundless, why not personally liberate me, master? My lips unintentionally brushed his cheek, our breaths intertwining. Shinjili's breath was briefly chaotic, a flush spreading up from his ears. In my previous life, I never acted out of line in front of Shinjili. Books say that men who are incapable in certain aspects tend to be more sensitive, so I always carefully protected his self-esteem. I suppressed all physical desires, wishing only for a spiritual connection with him. In the end, it was all a joke. Director Shen, What do you think? I pushed Shinjili away, sat down on a chair, lit a cigarette, and asked indifferently. Through the swirling smoke, I saw Shinjili's murky eyes. After a long pause, his voice strained. Ching ching, after distant lands wraps up, let's be together properly. I will try hard to love you. Okay, how ridiculous. Why has loving me become something that requires effort? Unfortunately, I do not need this charity of love. I slowly exhaled a puff of smoke, my lips curling into a half smile. But, Director Shen, I regret it. A man who have a sexual dysfunction is hardly a match for me, unfortunately. Someone happened to be passing by the door and overheard the conversation, rushing away quickly. Ironically, that person was quite a gossip, spreading the news of Shinjili's incompetence throughout the entire film industry. During the subsequent filming of Distant Places, everyone would exchange glances secretly when they thought no one was watching. Under Shinjili's stern demeanor, Distant Places was eventually completed, after coordinating the follow-up promotions. I handed him the drafted divorce papers. I spoke earnestly. Shinjili, if you truly like Mengwan, then strive for her. Don't miss out on a lifetime's chance again. Shinjili, this is my final gift to you, freedom. At one point, I detested Shinjili so much that I could have killed him when I first learned the truth, but after more than 50 years together, our relationship had become too complex to define clearly. In our marriage, besides love and children, Shinjili had shown me all the respect and care I could ask for. Letting him go was also a way of freeing myself. However, Shinjili just quietly looked at me, his expression somewhat bewildered. I sighed, feeling that people always seem to do inexplicable things at the wrong times. Take care, Shinjili. After putting down the divorce papers, I got up and left the cafe. It was March, and the air was still chilly, the wind bringing a biting cold. I felt relieved, ready to live the rest of my life for myself. After Distant Places wrapped up, I took some time off to step out of Chu Jingyan's life. During that period, Wei Qingshan came to see me, inviting me to star in the movie The Prime of Life. The young master of the Wei family, tired of producing, was ready to act. If I remember correctly, Mengwan gained international recognition with this film. I vividly recall her walking slowly down the red carpet, arm in arm with Shinjili under the flashing lights. The bitterness and resentment that surged in my heart then stayed with me for many years thereafter. I accepted the invitation and went to the desert, unknowingly spending 3 years there. During those 3 years, I cut off almost all contact with the outside world, fully immersing myself in the role. The director of The Prime of Life was notoriously difficult, and no one knew when the filming would end. There were times when I truly believed the film would never wrap up. When not filming, I would find a secluded corner to secretly cry, until one day, I saw Wei Qingshan with red-rimmed eyes. Then the scene changed. It was me and Wei Qingshan, hugging each other tightly, sobbing, exhausted from crying. We would lie in the vast desert, gazing at the myriad stars above. The universe is so vast, and humans so insignificant. Thinking this way, it seemed like all past grievances no longer mattered. Wei Qingshan always had a way of praising me, telling me how well I performed that day. He complimented my complexion, my eloquence, and even my unwashed hair, finding something special in it. Although I repeatedly told myself that I was fine and that Shinjili's disinterest was his loss, I would occasionally fall into endless self-doubt, until Wei Qingshan's daily compliments gradually made me feel not so terrible after all. When Wei Qingshan confessed his feelings, my heart raced. I suppose this at least means I don't hate him. I accepted his confession, and those unfulfilled pasts finally dissipated into the air. It turns out that time really can erase everything, like pain, like love and hatred. After wrapping up the shoot 4 years, stepping out of the desert felt like entering another world. Oh right, Distant Land won a major domestic film award, but the jury couldn't find me despite trying all their connections. Thus, through a twist of fate, I became the only actress in history who refused to accept an award, which inadvertently boosted my fame. I heard that Shinjili and Mengwan got married, then somehow divorced. Mengwan came to see me, her face unable to hide the fatigue of the past few years. Zhong is a difficult child, and I think she has learned that well. In this love triangle, Mengwan always seemed like an outsider. She never asked for anything. It was always Shinjili who planned everything for her unilaterally. In the end, all she could do was cry at Shinjili's grave, saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't know about your love for me." But did she really not know? During all the days and nights she spent with him, did she really not know that Shinjili loved her? As I dropped 2 sugar cubes into my cup, I suddenly asked, "Do you like Shinjili?" Mengwan paused, gazing sadly at the spoon in her hand. How could I not love him? Then she suddenly smiled, "But Yongqing, I'm not like you, I love myself more." After Mengwan left, I sat alone in the cafe for a long time until Wei Qingshan, smiling, ran towards me through the rain, seemingly dispelling all the gloom. So in the end, Mengwan is just a selfish person. She might like Shinjili, but she loves herself more, so for so many years, she could comfortably enjoy Shinjili's affection, pretending to be unaware of everything. I don't want to judge what's right or wrong, because it no longer matters. The day I moved my luggage out of the house, Shinjili stood there with teary eyes, gripping my suitcase tightly. Children are always like this, thinking that if they hold on tightly to something, it won't leave. I sighed, looked at him, and said, "Shinjili, let's go somewhere. Let's just consider it a closure." I took him to a Taoist temple on Mount Sanqing, a place I always wanted to visit with Shinjili in our past life to fulfill a vow, but it never happened. In the misty morning, we climbed the blue stone steps in silence. "Shinjili, do you know, 99 steps, I once knocked my head on the ground every 3 steps, making my way slowly." Back then, when Shinjili was abroad filming and encountered thugs, his life hanging by a thread, and I was powerless. All I could do was believe in the gods. Shinjili looked puzzled, but I continued, "I once really, really liked you, so much that I gave up a lot." His expression was complex. He stuttered, trying to say something, but finally just called out softly, "Ching Ching." "Shinjili, to me, you are just like a child clinging to something lost, initially reluctant to let go, but soon to forget." I walked a few more steps. These were words I originally couldn't bring myself to say. Admitting that someone doesn't love oneself is a blow to one's pride, but now I've come to terms with it. Shinjili took a big step and grabbed my hand. "Ching Ching, that's not it, you're not me, what you're saying is just speculation." I suddenly laughed. "Jili, if I had never wanted to divorce you, if everything had gone smoothly as you wished, living our lives together, would you have loved me?" He was silent for a long time, his expression pained, but he still murmured softly. Rather than speaking to me, it seemed more like he was reassuring himself. "No, Ching, I do love you, I will realize that I love you." When we reached the summit, we encountered a Taoist priest who stopped us and offered to read our fortune for free. He looked at me, squinting his eyes, exuding an air of mystery. "The lady comes from afar, doesn't she?" I just smiled without speaking. Wanderers like him always tend to speak in riddles. The man gently shook the bell in his hand. It sounded as if coming from a distance. Shinjili and I stood at the center of a whirlwind, as the future swept towards us. From the male protagonist's perspective at the end, it seemed Shinjili had a very long dream, where he and Qingqing grew old together, mutually supporting each other through life. He remembered the day the will was exposed. Qingqing looked bewildered, surrounded by a crowd, utterly helpless. A dull pain echoed in his heart. He rushed forward wanting to deny it. But it was all in vain. As he tried to push through the crowd, he saw Yongqing kowtow on 99 steps for his safe return. He saw their family of 3, holding hands and walking on the lawn under the afternoon sun. At that time, his happiness was tangible, but such substantial happiness made him wildly imaginative. Shinjili studied film, and films are made of fictional stories, so he also crafted a distant dream for himself. He did like Meng Wan, but it was merely the flutter of an initial crush. Often things unattained seem more precious. Thus, under his day-to-day fantasizing, this affection became tragically deep, and he could no longer see the people beside him. Awakening from his great dream was like being reborn. 25-year-old Yongqing stood in front of him, head bowed, chanting scriptures, but the person she prayed for protection was no longer him. Shinjili, when he saw Yongqing again, it was in the film industry, surrounded by people. She stepped down from a high place, no unnecessary adornments, for she was a synonym for light itself. Yet, upon seeing the man beside her, she smiled softly and took his arm. She was meant to shine brightly, it was just her love that blinded him. Shinjili sipped his drink with a bitter smile and walked into the night. He could have lived a very happy life, but he ultimately destroyed it himself. From then on, in his long life, he was alone. Story 2, the year was filled with sheer resentment. Whenever I held hands with my husband, he would coldly shake me off. It wasn't until after his death that a barrage of messages appeared before my eyes. The male protagonist is so stubborn, never admitting he has a skin starvation disorder. Now, He has perished in his unfulfilled desires. The male protagonist kept a diary. One glance by the female protagonist could embarrass him back to life. The diary is hidden in the fourth drawer from the left in his study. I opened the drawer and, to my surprise, there really was a diary. Beneath the diary, there was also a medical record. It belonged to Pei Wang, diagnosed with severe skin starvation disorder. The doctor's note read: physical contact with loved ones can alleviate the condition. The messages commented: his illness is as endless as Qin Shi Huang swinging on a swing, you should take some medicine. Male protagonist: too bad he's a strong man, wouldn't touch the female protagonist even if sparks flew. Marrying Pei Wang was an accident. My father's company went bankrupt, and everyone around us scattered, out of nowhere. Pei Wang swooped in and acquired the failing company, in tears of gratitude. My father offered me to Pei Wang as a gift, but Pei Wang gave my father 30 million and married me officially. I was forced to break up with my then boyfriend. For the next 3 years, Pei Wang and I respected each other but lived separate lives. He was cold and abstinent by day. At night, he would sneak into my bed while I slept. He did nothing but lay rigidly beside me. I was content not having to consummate our marriage, until I saw him sleeping with my skirt in his arms, frightened. I slapped him. Pei Wang, you're disgusting. His face turned deathly pale, and he fled. 3 days later, Pei Wang slit his wrists in the bathtub. Pei Wang's family doctor said, Mr. Pei suffered greatly before his death. The warm water prevented his wrists from scabbing over, and his condition, when unalleviated, made him lose all hope for life. Mr. Pei always found his illness repulsive and asked me to keep it a secret from you. I opened Pei Wang's diary. My wife slapped me. I was so happy. But then I woke up and realized it was just a dream. My wife smiled at me today. I'll reward myself with her photo. Xiaoning slapped me. I wanted to kiss her hand, but she wants to divorce me. My world is ending. I closed the diary. The messages crazily scrolled before my eyes. Pei Wang's spirit has come to say goodbye to the female lead. Too bad she can't see him. She only knows she will never see Pei Wang alive again. Pei Wang sees her crying, wants to hug her. But now he's just a wisp of a soul, unable to embrace his love. I stood up, wanting to embrace Pei Wang, but all that remained in my arms was a wisp of breeze. When I opened my eyes again, I was in the familiar bedroom, but the bedding was not the usual plain colors, but bright red silk sheets. The messages slid past. Did the female protagonist travel back to their wedding night? Are they redoing the story? Hopefully. The ending won't be the same, I remembered. This was the point where Pei Wang and I had a wedding in the church with no vows and no guests. After the wedding, Pei Wang sent me home, leaving me with a black card and his indifferent back. The company needs me to work overtime. Take care of yourself. At that time, I felt, to him, work was more important than me, and I was just a canary he had bought with money. From that day on, we embarked on a marriage that was in name only for 3 years. I hadn't yet taken off my wedding dress and high heels. Dressed like this, I went after Pei Wang. It was gloomy outside, and it was raining. I hailed a taxi and arrived at Pei Wang's company. I looked up at the towering 68-story office building before me, a business empire built from scratch by Pei Wang. But he was so foolish, for just because of a word from me, he gave up his life of power and influence. I walked into the office building, but I didn't even know where his office was. The receptionist asked me who I was looking for. I said, Pei Wang. She smiled at me. You need an appointment to see President Pei. I smiled back. I'm his wife. Pei Wang arrived quickly. Upon seeing me, he approached calmly and composed. The screen displayed. When the male protagonist received the call at the reception, he incredulously asked several times, who is looking for me? My wife. Before he came down, he even sprayed some perfume on himself and kept fixing his hair in front of his phone screen. The male protagonist meeting his wife is like a peacock spreading its feathers. Pei Wang stood before me, his demeanor cool and detached. What brings you here? He was dressed in an impeccably tailored, luxurious suit, his hair perfectly groomed. His face was devastatingly handsome, more refined and beautiful than AI modeling. I moved into Pei Wang's embrace and wrapped my arms around his waist, my ear against his chest. I could hear the clear beating of his heart. This was Pei Wang. Pei Wang, alive and real. Do you know how much I've wanted to see you? All the grievances poured out at that moment, my tears wetting the shirt on his chest. Pei Wang's composed facade shattered, his voice trembled slightly. What happened? I hugged Pei Wang even tighter. I missed you so much. But he pushed me away. He turned, straightening his clothes. Let's go upstairs to talk. I stood still. He looked down and saw my bare feet. Pei Wang hesitated for a moment, then lifted me up with one arm. The screen went wild with comments. Wow, is the male protagonist king? Who else would do a one-arm princess carry? During the hug, the male protagonist must have been tired from sticking out his butt, afraid of scaring the girl away. It's the first time the male protagonist is so close to the female protagonist. He must think she smells so good. He's ecstatic inside. I never expected Pei Wang to have this side. In Pei Wang's office, located on the top floor with a river view, he placed me on the sofa, heated some water, and wiped my feet with a towel. He kneeled in front of me, obedient like a big dog. I lifted his chin with my toe, forcing him to look me in the eye. Pei Wang, carrying me upstairs, wiping my feet, being so kind to me. What for? Pei Wang stared blankly at my lips moving, then coldly turned his head away. The screen commented, the male protagonist just can't handle it, his skin is thirsty especially on rainy days, I'm going to die of anxiety. Male protagonist, go kiss her, hug her, tell her that even bitter fruits are fruits. Is it wrong to want to be with you forever? I turned over, pinning Pei Wang down, gripping his chin and demanding, did you marry me because you like me? Not really. But his body desperately wanted to be in contact with me. I let go of Pei Wang and stood up to leave. I was waiting for Pei Wang to stop me. Sure enough, he grabbed my wrist. You're not wearing shoes. I'll have someone go buy some. I stepped forward, standing barefoot on Pei Wang's feet. Then I touched his lips. His lips felt hard, but they were soft to the kiss. I whispered to him, if you want me to keep kissing you, you have to tell me you like me. I know how tempting a lover's touch can be to someone who craves skin contact, almost to a deadly extent. If Pei Wang wants sweetness, he has to give me what I want. Pei Wang's veins throbbed at his temples, his wristband heart monitor beeped an alarm. I pressed my advantage, pinning him down on the sofa. Why would you leave me alone on our wedding night? I felt aggrieved. If Pei Wang loves me, why won't he say it? Let go of me first. His voice trembled, trying to push me away, but he was too weak to move me. A gentleman of integrity. Right, keeping his composure. Right. I pinned him down on the sofa. Then I started to undo my wedding dress buttons. We were almost facing each other honestly, but Pei Wang turned his head away. Ningxi, you don't need to test me like this. I'll wait until you're willing. I scoffed and slapped him. Pei Wang, are you not capable? Pei Wang not capable. He was very much capable. A bright red slap mark on his face, tears swirled in his eyes. Ningxi, I know you hate me. If slapping me makes you a bit happier, then you can do anything to me. I silently watched Pei Wang. Was he trying to seduce me? The comments said, even if the female lead stripped naked in front of him, Pei Wang would just ask if she was cold. Sorry, he's not the type to hurt the woman he loves. Don't reward him. He says no with his lips, but he's thrilled inside. Why does his wristband keep alarming? I'm worried he might suddenly die. I sighed and let go of Pei Wang. I wiped the sweat from his forehead. Your heart rate is off the charts. Let's stop teasing and go eat, shall we? He nodded expressionlessly. Then he took off his wristband. Sorry, there's a problem with the wristband, the comments said. This smart wristband is a hot new product developed by his company, marketed for its reliability. Why is the big boss undermining his own product? This strong guy behaves only when his wife is gone. Pei Wang had someone buy me a set of clothes. After changing, we went to the downstairs Western restaurant to eat. Pei Wang and I rarely had the chance to sit down and have a proper meal together. Once, to undermine him, his competitors called him a thief. As a child, he stole swill from restaurants to stave off hunger and expired bread from convenience stores to fill his stomach. Even as an adult, he never ate 3 regular meals a day, because no one ever taught him how to love himself. Pei Wang, let's eat together from now on, I said, pretending it was just an offhand remark. He paused while cutting his steak, then nodded restrainedly. Sometimes I have meetings, handle documents, I might not be able to join you for meals, but I can make time for you otherwise. I put down my knife and fork, smiling warmly as I responded, all right, then I'll eat whenever you eat from now on. After all, I have a stomach condition, and the doctor said that if I don't eat regularly, it will get worse. Pei Wang seemed taken aback by my response. The overwhelming feeling of not being in control made him anxious. He began to pick at the hangnails around his fingernails until they bled. I took a deep breath and held his hand. Pei Wang, could you please take care of yourself a bit more? My grip on his wrist tightened. It shouldn't be like this between us. Me taking a step forward and you taking 100 steps back. Avoiding won't get you a wife, or my kisses, if you want that. Then accompany me for meals every day, great. She's straightforward, there's hope for us. As for the heroine, out of 100 points, she only scores 22, the remaining 78, the male lead spoils her with. Pei Wang looked into my eyes as if searching for a reason to refuse. After a long pause, he averted his gaze and nodded almost imperceptibly. As we left the restaurant, we ran into Fu Tan, my ex-boyfriend of 3 years, whom I was supposed to marry. However, he had a severe heart condition, and doctors said he wouldn't live past 30. At that time, my family was bankrupt. Fu Tan, being the powerless second son of the Fu family, had no influence, and my father sold me off to Pei Wang. Fu Tan had locked himself in his dark studio, unseen for a long time. After not seeing him for months, he had lost a lot of weight. The once dazzlingly handsome man now had a lifeless look in his eyes. His gaze fell on me and Pei Wang, filled with boundless sorrow. Ningxi, have you fallen for Pei Wang so quickly? What about the vows we made? What about the paths we walked together? Fu Tan clutched his chest, struggling to breathe. I supported him and searched for his medication. Calm down, you're having an attack. He pulled me into his embrace, his voice choked with emotion. Just hold me, and I'll be alright. Xiaoxi, can you wait for me? I will become your hero and rescue you from Pei Wang. I will take control of the Fu family and make you the lady of the house. From then on, no one can tear us apart. I was held in Fu Tan's arms, exchanging a look with Pei Wang, who stood beside us with a dark, stormy expression in his eyes. Comments streamed in. What's this? Does the second male lead also have a skin hunger issue? Needs the heroine's embrace to feel better. I hate these White Lotus types. It's over. Seeing the look in the male lead's eyes. The heroine's going to have a tough time when they get home. The male lead is crying. Come on heroine, comfort him, he needs a hug. Fu Tan stared at me blankly, lost in thought. In his previous life, just as he said, he quickly overthrew his elder brother from power. Once he gained authority, he went head-to-head with Pei Wang in the business world. Pei Wang's abilities are far from ordinary. The two of them exchanged blows, neither willing to give in. But I didn't want to be an object fought over by two men anymore. I pushed Fu Tan away. Then I walked step by step towards Pei Wang and took his hand. Let's go home. At the underground parking lot, Pei Wang, who had been silent for a while, finally spoke. Now that we're alone, you don't have to pretend anymore. You should go to Fu Tan. The audience commented, this is what a true partner looks like. Even willing to accept a rival with such grace. If you really went to him, you wouldn't be happy. Weren't you just burning with jealousy when you saw her hugging the other guy? I was shocked as I looked at Pei Wang. His face was expressionless, delicate, and cold. Tear stains still marked his cheeks, making him look vulnerable like a big dog. I couldn't help but laugh and mischievously poked his cheek. Pei Wang, are you jealous? Pei Wang stubbornly turned his head away. No, really not. No, Pei Wang was really too beautiful. His jealous and angry look made it irresistible to tease him. I tiptoed and kissed his lips. Are you still angry? I asked him softly. Pei Wang breathed heavily. I'm not angry. I chuckled lightly and kissed him more intensely. The audience commented, in the past, he relied on cold showers when he was upset. Today, he finally found relief. Can the male lead understand this kiss? Isn't he gasping for air? He's almost suffocating. Pei Wang was inexperienced and had never felt the pleasure of intimate contact with a loved one. I gently patted his cheek. Breathe. Only then did Pei Wang seem to awaken, taking deep breaths. Then he eagerly leaned in for more kisses, but I pressed my finger against his lips. Pei Wang, can you tell me now if you're upset because of Fu Tan? Pei Wang looked like a wronged puppy. He buried his head in my neck, his voice muffled. I am upset, very upset. I stroked his soft hair. Then tell me. What do you want me to do? I want you to only look at me, hold me, kiss me. I held Pei Wang's face seriously and told him, see, isn't it much better to express your thoughts when you're angry and don't tell me? I can't make you feel better. If you're sad and keep it inside, I won't know to comfort you. Pei Wang nodded groggily, like a child dazed by happiness. I pinched his cheek. Good boy, baby. The audience went wild. Turns out you don't need to go to Panhong Garden to train a dog. The female lead is the master. Please release a dog training manual. Will the male lead call her wife or master from now on? Me. After getting caught in the rain, I came home and developed a fever. The doctor gave me a fever-reducing injection, and I drifted off into a heavy sleep. Pei Wang gazed at the sleeping figure before him, as if he were worshipping Aphrodite on Mount Olympus, the goddess, betrothed to the ugly and flawed Hephaestus by Zeus. Pei Wang felt that he, a broken man, was unworthy of such a divine woman. On this damp, rainy day, his skin felt as though countless ants were gnawing at his flesh and sanity. He was despicable, shameless, and vile, he thought to himself. Since Ningxi is asleep, she won't see this disgusting side of me. He curled up on the adjacent sofa, indulging himself. Finally, Pei Wang regained his composure. He stood up and straightened his clothes. In the full-length mirror, he looked restrained, proper, and gently warm. This version of Pei Wang wasn't filthy or repulsive, but when his eyes met mine, Pei Wang's face turned deathly pale. "When did you wake up?" he asked. The comments flashed. "She's been awake since you called her name." "Oh no, I've spent money." "Why is it all just talk? Don't just focus on yourself, remember the female lead too." I looked at Pei Wang with a playful smile. "What were you just doing? Why is your face so red?" "Exercising my body," he replied. I barely held back a laugh. "So when will you let me check the results?" Pei Wang dashed out of the bedroom, fleeing the scene. The comments continued. "What kind of man are you? I'm in a hurry. Can you two just go to the bedroom already?" I sighed. Pei Wang really was difficult to win over. As the illness slowly receded like pulling silk, Pei Wang stayed home to care for me for several days. Throughout, I tried every trick in the book, but he never lost control in front of me. The comments said, the male lead, to hide his illness, ignored doctor's advice and took lots of medicine. The male lead is too insecure, he can't accept his illness, he desperately wants to be perfect in front of the female lead. Recently, the second male lead has been provoking him, and in anger, the male lead took him to a villa in the suburbs. He's been irritable from the medication these past few days, but he wants to be a good boy in front of the female lead, so he vents his anger on the second male lead instead. Watching the comments, I fell into deep thought. Pei Wang, in his past life, had shown strong possessiveness towards me. At a business gathering, I met Fu Tan. Fu Tan shattered a wine glass, spilling red wine on me. As Fu Tan helped me clean the stain, I glanced at Pei Wang, who had a stern face, and I politely declined Fu Tan's help. Unexpectedly, that smile drove Pei Wang mad. He and Fu Tan started fighting, almost as if he was fighting for his life, pinning Fu Tan to the ground and hitting him. This side of Pei Wang was too obsessive and extreme. Pei Wang should be in the study at this time. When I pushed open the door, a sickly sweet scent hit me. Pei Wang was at his desk, working on documents. "What's that smell in the room?" I asked. He hesitated in his response. The comments explained, it's medicine for his skin condition. The oral medicine he used before no longer works. Only this inhalable type can alleviate his symptoms now. This kind of medicine can become addictive if used too much. I frowned and opened the windows of the study. Fresh air entered, clearing much of the scent. I walked over to Pei Wang. He sat motionless in his chair, with documents still laid out on his desk. I looked down at Pei Wang's suit pants. Is this how Pei Wang handles his business? His energy really is boundless. With a playful smile, I embraced him, their fingers interlocked. "Is the medicine effective, or am I?" What did you say?" I asked him again. "Why didn't you tell me when you were sick?" Pei Wang's blood seemed to stop flowing. "You already know." "I'm sorry, really sorry. I know I'm disgusting. I am like an unworthy dog, with such a disgusting disease. Don't leave me. Don't divorce me." Pei Wang's emotions teetered on the brink of collapse, fragile as if they would shatter at a touch. I seriously said to him, "Pei Wang, you are beautiful. I really like your appearance. Your waist and abdominal muscles also feel great to touch." I wrapped my arms around his waist, and, "I don't mind being close to you." Pei Wang looked at me in shock. "You, like me?" I kissed his fingertips. "If I didn't like you, why would I kiss you and hold you?" "But, Fu Tan said you love him more. If you lose interest in me later, you will abandon me." Pei Wang's tone carried a grievance he himself did not notice. I pinched his earlobe. "Are you so afraid I'll leave you and abandon you? Are you afraid that if I go, there will be no one to treat your illness?" He spoke hesitantly. "I like you, not just out of physical desire. I've always known." I've read Pei Wang's diary. We attended the same middle and high schools. He was that odd one in class who wrote his homework with a pencil. Classmates mocked him for not even being able to afford a notebook. Yet, he was always first in every exam. During my chaotic and messy school days, I dated one boy after another, but never noticed that a quiet, subtle gaze had always been watching me. "Pei Wang, why would you like someone as messed up as me?" I eagerly looked at Pei Wang, hoping he would compliment me more, but after a long struggle, he only managed 6 words. "You're not bad, you're very good," the comments said. "The male lead is obsessed with the female lead because she has captured his heart." To be fair, although the female lead is a bit of a flirt, she is kind-hearted and attractive, and such a brooding boy is easily smitten by a blazing sun like her. Woo 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 woo. The sisters at the scene leave a string of mysterious numbers, 999969. Just as the atmosphere was getting ambiguous, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered the call. On the other end was Fu Tan's weak voice. "Xiaoxi, where are you? Pei Wan is too dangerous. Pack up, I'll take you away." Pei Wan beneath me instantly turned pale. I asked Fu Tan, "What happened?" I was locked in his remote mountain villa by Pei Wan. Today I took advantage of a lapse in the guard and hid in the villa's basement. There is a pitch-black iron cage there. The walls are covered with your photos. The earliest one is from your first year of high school. The latest one is from a month ago. He has been watching you. I looked at Pei Wan with questioning eyes. "Is this true?" Pei Wan shook his head helplessly, his eyes filled with panic. I chuckled. "That's scary." From the other end of the phone came Fu Tan's voice. "Don't come here, let me go." It seemed Pei Wan's man had captured Fu Tan. I hung up the phone, looking at Pei Wan. "Do you have anything to explain to me?" Pei Wan's eyes were full of defeat and despair, crying and then laughing. He held me tight in his arms, fiercely saying, "Ningxi, are you afraid of me, despise me, and want to leave me? I'm telling you, it's impossible. Even in death, you'll have to stay with me in the same urn." "Liar, in our past life, you clearly left me alone. What do you plan to do with me then? Hide me away so that in the future I can only talk to you." Pei Wan shook his head as he heard this, his emotions beginning to crumble. "No, that's not it. You are the sun. You won't rise and set just for me, nor will you love only me. One day, you will leave me." The comments said, "The male lead is so pitiful, just like my dog who has separation anxiety." If the female lead were like in the past life, not showing any real feelings towards the male lead, he, having never experienced better, would obviously find it easier to accept her departure. It's like someone who has seen the light can never again endure the darkness. I hugged him. "I'm not some sun. I'm a living person. You are so good, so likable. How could I not love you and just leave you behind?" Pei Wan in the past life wasn't bad or unlikable, he just hid his feelings too deeply. It was I who didn't see my own heart clearly. That's why we missed out on so many years. 12. I originally wanted to persuade Pei Wan to let go of Fu Tan, but every word and action of mine, in Pei Wan's eyes, would be greatly magnified. Thus, this matter had to be put on hold for now, but soon. The situation took a turn. I accompanied Pei Wan to a charity gala. Fu Tan, who was supposed to be confined in the villa, was mingling among the crowd, radiant as before. When he saw me and Pei Wan, he even came over to greet us. A few company CEOs around us, thinking we didn't know each other, even introduced Fu Tan to us. "Mr. Fu has recently taken over the family business and is now the head of the Fu family." This moment came much earlier than in the past life when Fu Tan overthrew the elder brother of the Fu family. The look of vulnerability had completely vanished from Fu Tan's eyes. His gaze towards me was like that of a hunter eyeing his prey. Pei Wan pulled me behind him, blocking Fu Tan's view of me. "Mr. Fu, if you keep staring at someone else's wife, your eyes might be gouged out." Fu Tan looked at Pei Wan with a smirk. "Are you talking about Ningxi? She's just under your temporary care. And one day she will return to my side." Saying this, Fu Tan's eyes lingered on me. "Ningxi, he hasn't taken good care of you, you've lost weight." Seeing the tension between the two, the surrounding executives quickly scattered. The comments said, "How can this guy be so brazenly lying? The female lead has obviously gained weight. The male lead is the type who is fierce but not verbose, while the second male lead is all talk. The male lead is so angry now, but doesn't know what to say to infuriate the second male lead even more." I hid behind Pei Wan. "Husband, say something." This gave Pei Wan the courage. Like a small dog that had the backing of its owner, he boldly said, "My wife told you to scram, didn't you hear?" Fu Tan, with a dark look in his eyes, left our line of sight. I asked Pei Wan, "Wasn't Fu Tan supposed to be locked up in the villa? Why did he suddenly appear here?" Pei Wan shook his head. "I haven't really been keeping an eye on Fu Tan these last few days, and the people guarding him haven't sent any updates. It seems now that Fu Tan has bribed those people. He's not as simple as we imagined." As the dinner was about to end, I received a message on my phone. "Xiaoxi, I prepared a big surprise for you tonight." It was from an unknown number. A shiver ran through me. I had pushed Pei-won to discuss a partnership. Somehow, my head started to feel heavy and foggy. Before my consciousness faded, I fell into someone's arms. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a pitch-dark basement. Pei-won, is it you? Instinctively, I felt that this was something Pei-won would do. It wasn't the main guy, it was the second male lead. He drugged your drink when you weren't paying attention. Why can't the second male lead stop breaking up the main couple? Can't they just keep being sweet together? I frantically read these comments. Fu Tan, come out here. A light chuckle echoed from the doorway. Fu Tan stood there, dressed in a black turtleneck and gold-rimmed glasses, exuding an air of refined elegance. I had once complimented him on how good he looked in such outfits. Fu Tan smiled lightly at me. Xiaoxi, it's been a long time since I've seen you angry. The comments continued. Stay away from the female lead, this time it's not just scaring yourself. The second male lead is a pure yandere and a freak. The main guy is going crazy right now. Second male lead, second male lead, second male lead. Fu Tan frowned and clicked his tongue lightly. These comments are really annoying. I was shocked. Could Fu Tan see the comments too? Fu Tan walked over and embraced me. Xiaoxi, I know you have many questions. I'll answer them slowly. After all, I spoil you. This reminded me of our childhood when we played house. He was the father, I was the mother, and our friends were the children. I would use green, leafy mud as herbal medicine, applying it to his hand while playing doctor. He helped me with homework and writing reflections. He embraced it all and would say, who else but me to spoil you? I looked at him in fear. Since when can you see the comments? He nuzzled my neck with his head. It was around the time those comments said that if I loved you, I should elope with you before you marry someone else. I rebuked him. You never loved me. Back then, my father handed me over to Pei-won, a stranger, while you locked yourself in your studio to escape reality. They're not wrong. You are a cowardly loser. Yes, I am a loser. If I weren't such a cowardly loser, I would have taken you away before you fell in love with Pei-won. I said tremblingly. You're terrifying. Unexpectedly. Fu Tan laughed. Do you find me terrifying? But isn't it Pei-won whom you like, who is just as terrifying? I was horrified by Fu Tan, and tears began to fall. Fu Tan wiped my tears and continued, if you want to talk about terrifying, Pei-won is the most terrifying. Have you ever wondered where your ex-boyfriends went after you got married? Mental asylums, dark minds. Fu Tan sickeningly stroked my hair. I know exactly what Pei-won is thinking. Why should those people be able to hug you, kiss you, and enjoy your beauty? So when he locked me in his villa, I was actually happy. I had you before he did. I was loved by you before he was. I struggled frantically in his arms. Fu Tan held me even tighter. He almost cruelly said, Ningxi, I won't let you go again. I was too gentle before. I should be a madman like Pei-won. Ningxi, it's do or die between us. Fu Tan has lost his mind. He's not like Pei-won. Pei-won loves me and can't bear to hurt me. But Fu Tan, that madman, will stop at nothing when it comes to me. I decided to use a softer approach. Fu Tan, we grew up together. Don't be so harsh on me. I'll divorce Pei-won. By acting like this, aren't you just being the homewrecker? After a long silence, the live comments started popping up. It looks like the heroine still loves the second male lead. Their childhood friendship is stronger than anything. Love it. The heroine and the second male lead are truly meant for each other. I hope he can be with her. Fu Tan saw these comments too. He quietly repeated the words from the comments, childhood friends, a bond stronger than gold. Just when I thought the comments had calmed him down, he suddenly burst into laughter, waving his arms wildly as if to chase away the words. You're all lying to me. Fu Tan embraced me wildly, as if trying to merge me into his very flesh. I broke down crying, struggling frantically. The iron door of the basement crashed down with a loud bang. A figure appeared against the light, like a warrior descending from the heavens, kicking Fu Tan against the wall. Fu Tan, curled up on the ground, spat out a few blood-stained teeth. Before he passed out, he muttered, I'm not a coward. Ningxi and I are the perfect match. I sat in Pei Wang's car, feeling wronged. Why did you only come to find me now? Pei Wang's eyes were red with blood vessels. When you disappeared, you left me a breakup note, remembering how kind you've been to me. Your smiles. I thought you were just flattering me, making me lower my guard. I thought you had abandoned me. The comments said, the heroine shouldn't misunderstand the male lead. He slit his wrists after the second male lead kidnapped you. On the brink of death, he felt you crying and immediately fought to live. The male lead hasn't even bandaged his wrists, and here you are stabbing him in the heart again. Only then did I notice. Pei Wang's wrists were covered with crisscross scars. I remembered a past life. He lay in the bathtub, cold and stiff, lifeless, eventually turning into a pile of cold ashes. I covered my mouth, holding back tears. Pei Wang held me, his tone gentle. Thank you, Ningxi, thank you for not abandoning me. Outside the car window, the bleak landscape swiftly receded. Pei Wang and I embraced in the car. We were slowly moving toward a future full of blossoming flowers. I need her to tell me herself that she hates me and doesn't want me. Only then would I willingly die. Today, my illness flared up again, but I dare not tell Ningxi. When I'm sick, I become like a wild beast unaware of hunger or thirst. I suppress my filthy thoughts. Taking advantage of Ningxi's deep sleep, I quietly climbed into bed. Fortunately, I could see Ningxi, I could smell her scent. In the 3rd year of marriage to my wife, we held a belated wedding ceremony. It was the same church and the same stodgy priest as before, but this time, there were flowers, guests, vows of everlasting fidelity, and my Ningxi, who loves me. Ah, I am the happiest man in the world. Today is the end of the world. Ningxi caught me holding her close. She slapped me, calling me disgusting. Sigh, I am a despicable dog. I hope in my next life, Ningxi won't find me disgusting. I hope in my next life, when I'm afflicted, she will hold me, kiss me. Ningxi, goodbye.